Welcome to Tiny Talks, where we talk about all things medicine. In this video, I'll be talking about the brain, the central nervous system, and the peripheral nervous system, and how to remember how things are connected. First off, the brain. It's easiest to divide them into 4 parts. So you have the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, and the temporal lobe. But how does that play a role? Well, each of these sections have their own functions, and in order to understand where a disease or disorder might have occurred in the brain, you need to remember the symptoms that they show. The frontal lobe is responsible for the motor skills, the motor cortex, the premotor cortex, and the supplementary motor cortex. In addition to that, you also have the personality of a person, their motivation, their drive, executive functions, things that make them want to do something or have the will to do something. The parietal lobe is important for sensory skills. So not only sensory skills, but also coordinating sensory skills. So for example, if you have a key in your hand, the brain is able to distinguish that it is cold, that it is hard, that it has the shape of a key. You also have 2-point discrimination in this center. Then we have the occipital lobe, which is responsible for vision. And then we have the temporal lobe, which is responsible for a sense of smell and taste and also memory. This is a very general view of the brain. Then further down, we have the small brain, or the cerebellum, which is responsible for coordination and precise movements. Going further down, we have the brainstem, which is divided into 3 parts. So we have the mesencephalon, or the midbrain, we have the pons, and we have medulla oblongata. The easiest way to remember the brainstem is that's where the nuclei or the core of the cranial nerves are. In order to remember which nerve nuclei are where, it's easiest to remember that the first 4 are in the midbrain, 4 to 8 are in pons, and then 8 to 12 are in the medulla oblongata. Of course, this is a very, very gross overview because, for example, the trigeminal nerve has a nuclei that goes from the midbrain down to the medulla oblongata. But in order to remember, it is easy to remember this way. Then from the brainstem, we have the spinal cord. And the spinal cord is where all the peripheral nerves are extended from. So we have 31 pairs of spinal nerves. So we have 7 in the cervical region, we have 12 in the thoracic region, 5 in the lumbar region, and then 5 sacral and 1 in the coccyx or coccygeal. And these are paired, so we have 2 of each for each side, obviously. These nerves are then extended out from the spinal cord into the muscles where they're innervated, and that's basically it. That's how the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system are divided. And now we've talked.